The storm outside had already swallowed the city in cold gray darkness when Emily Carter stepped out of the diner's back door, clutching a thin sweater around her shoulders. Her shoes were soaked from the leaking pipes inside the kitchen, her fingers numb not from the cold but from the weight of everything in her life collapsing at once. Rent overdue. Mother's medicines nearly finished. Her sister's school fees sitting in the unread messages of payment reminders. But even with all of that, she still walked back inside the diner with a polite smile plastered across her trembling face. Because tonight, life had to go on. She couldn't afford to break. She couldn't afford anything at all. If you believe in kindness, fate, and second chances, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps stories like these alive. Emily tied her red apron, took a deep breath, and stepped into the warm-lit diner. It was past closing hours, yet a group of sharply dressed businessmen in suits filled one long booth, their laughter and deep voices echoing across the stillness. Among them stood a man slightly apart, calm, tired-eyed, and oddly out of place in his expensive navy suit. He looked like someone carrying a world of problems beneath a perfectly polished appearance. Emily had seen people like him before, powerful on the outside, breaking on the inside. Just as she turned to refill the coffee pot, she heard a soft but strained voice at her counter. It was the man in the navy suit. He asked if they still served food. Emily nodded, though the kitchen had already closed. She could see the desperation on his face, the way he held his credit card with a quiet hope, as if he wasn't sure it would work. And when he handed it to her, she saw the decline message flash on the small digital machine with a sharp beep. The man didn't even flinch. He just sighed, the type of sigh that carries years of exhaustion. He whispered that it had been a long day. That he hadn't eaten. That he didn't want to bother anyone. Emily knew the feeling. She lived the feeling. Something inside her cracked. She told him to wait, walked to the back, and used her last $10 bill, her emergency money for the week, to prepare him a warm meal from leftover kitchen supplies the staff hadn't counted yet. She wasn't supposed to do it. She could get fired. But some things were bigger than rules. When she placed the plate before him, the man's eyes softened, glistened even. He thanked her quietly, the kind of thanks that came from deep pain. Emily just smiled, pretending she wasn't fighting tears, pretending she didn't need that money more than anything. She didn't ask his name. She didn't ask for anything at all. She went home that night with an empty wallet but a strangely full heart. The next morning, she walked into the diner expecting nothing more than another exhausting day. But instead, she froze in the doorway. Outside the diner, lined up across the sidewalk and stretching down the street, stood luxury cars, 50 of them at least, sleek, polished, expensive. Men and women in tailored suits stepped out one by one, forming a crowd so surreal that even the owner of the diner stumbled outside in confusion. At the front of the group was the man from the night before. He wasn't just a businessman. He was the CEO of one of the largest tech companies in the country, a company known for its silent philanthropic work and its network of highly successful investors. Emily nearly dropped her tray when he approached her with a smile so gentle it softened the sharp edges of the morning air. He explained that after she fed him last night, his board of directors, who had been in the diner, told him they had just witnessed something remarkable. A woman willing to give her last dollar without expecting anything in return. What none of them knew was that the CEO had been undergoing a secret evaluation for compassion-based leadership by his own team. His card had been intentionally disabled for the test. And Emily had passed the test for him. So he brought everyone who mattered, 50 millionaires, executives, and investors, back to the diner for one reason, to change her life. Emily stood frozen as the CEO handed her an envelope containing enough money to pay off her mother's medical bills, settle her rent for an entire year, and support her sister's education. Then came the job offer, an administrative position at his company, with training included, designed specifically for someone hardworking but struggling for opportunity. The crowd behind him applauded her, not out of sympathy but deep respect. Emily felt her knees weaken. The world blurred. She had lived years in darkness, and suddenly a whole street was shining for her. But the CEO wasn't done. He stepped aside, revealing a small plaque one of the investors held. It had her name engraved on it beside the words, "Kindness creates futures." They wanted to feature her story in their upcoming foundation campaign to inspire others worldwide. For the first time in a long time, Emily cried, not from fear, not from loss, but from a dawning realization that kindness given in silence had echoed far louder than she ever imagined. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Your support keeps inspirational stories alive. Before you go, comment below, "Kindness matters." That small sentence may inspire someone else reading today.